Hello, children. Good morning. Do you remember in the last class we had discussed about animal tissues? So, till now we have completed plant tissues and animal tissues. So, we discussed what are tissues, what are the functions of the tissues, how do tissues help in plants and animals. We also discussed different types of plant tissues and animal tissues. Now today we'll have a quick recap on all the things that we had learned till now. There are certain things that you will need to learn more. So I'll discuss those points today. So let's start the recap. We had learned in plant tissues about there are two types of plant tissues, meristematic tissues and permanent tissues. Now, when we talked about meristematic tissues, we discussed about what are they capable of. So, the cells are capable of cell division. So, it is responsible for growth. Now, when we talk about permanent tissues, here the mature cells are incapable of cell division. So, further, when we classify the permanent tissues, they are classified into simple permanent tissues and complex permanent tissues. Now, simple permanent tissues are composed of single type of cells, and complex tissues are composed of more than one type of cells. Now, let us see the simple permanent tissues. They are subclassified into parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. Parenchyma and collenchyma are further subclassified into chlorenchyma. Now we have even seen the diagrams of all these, and we have seen the structure, its characteristics and its function. When we talk about the complex permanent tissues, we discussed about the xylem and phloem. Further, we'll see the difference between the xylem and phloem. So, it will be very clear to you what is xylem, what is phloem and how do they help. Now, the main things that you need to know about xylem is about the xylem vessels and tracheids. You must know what are tracheids, you must know what are sieve tubes, what are companion cells and what is the difference between the xylem and phloem. Now, you are learning this from standard 8th. So, you must know now what is xylem and what is phloem and what are their functions. When we talk about the meristematic tissues, the cells in these tissues divide very fast and helps in the growth of plants. Now, when we talk about the structure, the cells are round, oval, polygonal or intercellular spaces are not present. So, we can say that there is no intercellular spaces in between these tissues. And where are they present? They are present at the tip of the root, shoot, at nodes and at the sides of the stem. So, whenever we want to grow a new plant, then what helps? The meristematic tissue. So, they are responsible for the growth of the plant. When we talk about the permanent tissues, the cells of meristematic tissues dividing when it stops dividing, it matures and then forms permanent tissues. When we talk about the permanent tissues, they are again further classified into simple tissues and complex tissues. Now, what are simple tissues? As we had discussed in the last slide, that all slides are same in structure and perform the same function. So, they are parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. What are complex tissues? They consist of different types of cells and they perform same function. Now, they are xylem and phloem. So, this is just a flow chart of whatever I explained in the previous slide. Okay, now when we talk about the complex, They are made up of more than one type of cells that have a common origin. Just now in the previous slide we talked about it. They work together to perform common function. Now they are present in complex plants and they help a plant to survive in terrestrial environment. तो लैंड पे जब रहना होता है तो ये हेल्प करते हैं. Now what is the major function of these tissues? They help to transport water, minerals and food to all parts of the plant. In short, when we talked about STEM in our lower classes, we knew that the transportation that takes place of all the water and minerals, that is done by the stem. So here there are a particular type of tissues that help in this function, and so they are the complex permanent tissues. Now there are two types of complex permanent tissues, and they are xylem and phloem. Now what does xylem consist of? It consists of tracheids or vessels. They are known as trachea. Xylem parenchyma and xylem sclerenchyma. Phloem consists of sieve tubes, companion tubes, phloem parenchyma and phloem fibers. So these are the things that you have to remember. What does the xylem consist of and what does the phloem consist of? Okay, so both the conducting tissues, that is, what is the meaning of conducting tissues? They just help in the transportation. So xylem and phloem, they both are called vascular tissues and they together form vascular bundles. दोनों मिलके xylem और phloem दोनों साथ में काम करते हैं and they together form the vascular bundles. So X stands for xylem and P stands for phloem. So xylem vascular tissues and phloem vascular tissues together they form the vascular bundles. Okay, now in the previous session we had talked about when we were talking about the plant tissues, we had talked about the plant tissues. In that we talked about epidermis. So when we talk about epidermis, it has small pores that are called stomata. They are surrounded by two kidney shaped guard cells. We had discussed about the guard cells, and in the next session I had shown you the diagram also of the guard cells which protects the exchange of water, the exchange of gases. So what is the function of stomata? Stomata helps in exchange of gases. It helps in transpiration. What is transpiration? Sometimes there is loss of water in the form of water vapor. So I had given you the example of desert plants. I had given you the example how the stomata, how the guard cells protects the loss of water. So the another function of this is to help in the conduction of water and minerals from root to the other plants of the plant. So this is the function of the stomata. Now you might have observed the plants and you might have seen that the color and the structure of a young stem is different from the outer layer of a branch of a tree. You can see the thick bark of the tree. If the tree you see, it is brown, it is thick and it is dark brown in color, whereas the stem is green, and if you talk about the texture, that is also different. So let us see what is it, and let us see what is the cork. As we had discussed before, I'll just revise it with the figure. As plants grow older, the outer protective tissue called the epidermis, it changes. You know that epidermis is the outermost protective layer of the plant. So it is replaced by secondary meristem which gives new cells on both the sides. जैसे जैसे प्लांट ग्रो होता जाता है, जैसे वो ओल्ड होता जाता है, तो उसके ऊपर एक सेकेंडरी मेरिस्टम का लेयर आ जाता है और वो रिप्लेस कर देता है उसको. सो द सेल्स ऑन द आउटसाइड आर कट ऑफ फ्रॉम दिस लेयर एंड दिस फॉर्म्स द सेवरल लेयर थिक कॉक ऑन द बार्क ऑफ द ट्री. एक लेयर सा बन जाता है Now these cells of cork are dead and they are tightly arranged without any intercellular space, and they have a chemical called suberin in the walls which make them impervious to gases and water. तो लॉस कम हो जाता है और वो उसको प्रिवेंट करता है, उसको प्रोटेक्टिव बना देता है. एंड व्हाट इज कॉक? एक्चुअली कॉक इज protective in nature. It protects and it prevents the loss of water from plant and injury, and as it does not catch fire easily and is light. अगर आपने बॉटल के ऊपर देखा होगा, ऐसे बहुत सारे बॉटल्स होते हैं जिनके ऊपर ऐसा कॉक बनाया जाता है. नाउ दिस कॉक इज मेड फ्रॉम द वुडन मटीरियल, दैट इज द कॉक दैट इज प्रेजेंट ऑन द ट्री. सो I'm just showing you the figure of the cork. Actually this cork, this material is found in the trees and it's used as an insulator. It's also used in sports good. ये plants में पाया जाता है. You can see the structure of the cork here. You can see the cork cells and you can see the epidermis. So this is how there is the protective layer on the plants. Now this is a big figure, but we'll just revise the animal tissues in short. When we talk about animal tissues, we had talked about the different types of animal tissues. They are classified into nervous tissues, muscular tissues, connective tissues and epithelial tissues. So we'll go in a reverse way. We'll start with the epithelial tissues. Epithelial tissues are protective tissues and they are again classified into granular tissues, unilayer tissues and multilayer tissues, but that will not go into detail, that you will learn in your higher classes. We'll just look into this sub classification, that is the squamous epithelial tissues, the cuboidal epithelial tissues and the columnar epithelial tissues. Now when we talk about its function and its structure, the squamous, as you can see here, the flattened cell, they are thin and flat, forming delicate linings of the blood vessels, the alveoli in lungs. It's present in the mouth and the esophagus. So here is where the squamous epithelial cells are found. And what is its function? It forms diffusion boundary. Now we know the process of diffusion. We have learned in our previous lesson what is diffusion. We had talked about osmosis, we had talked about diffusion. So the exchange of gases or the exchange of material that takes place, that is due to diffusion. Okay, now cuboidal, as the name suggests, cuboidal are cube in shape and they form the linings of the renal tubules. Renal, you have not heard about the word renal, but it is related to the kidneys, and the ducts of the salivary glands, which provides mechanical support. So what is the main function of it? It provides mechanical support and it helps in the secretion and absorption. So this is about the cuboidal tissues. Now when we talk about the columnar tissues, they are found in the linings of the stomach, intestine, and they help in secretion and absorption. When we talk about the columnar tissues, they are non-ciliated and ciliated. Now what is cilia? Cilia is the structure that is found in the cells. Now when we talk about the ciliated columnar epithelial tissues, they are tall epithelial tissues and they have projections. Projections means small structures at its end, and they are present on the linings of the respiratory tract, and their main function is the propagation of mucus or the different types of particles. Now when we talk about the another type of tissues, that are the connective tissues. Connective tissues are the linking and supporting tissues of the body. Now they are subclassified into, you can see, bones, ligaments, tendons, cartilage. We had talked about the different types of tissue, connective tissues, that is the areolar tissues and the adipose tissues, and the last classification is about the blood. Now these we have already discussed in the previous session, but we'll just have a quick recap on all this. Let's see areolar tissues. Areolar connective tissues are found between skin and muscles, around blood, vessels and nerves, and in bone marrow. So this is the place where the areolar connective tissues are present. Now what is the function of the areolar connective tissues? They fill the gap or the space inside organs, and they support the internal organs and help in the repair of tissues. What are adipose tissues? Adipose tissues are filled with flat globules. They are found below the skin and between the internal organs. What are the functions of the adipose tissues? They store fat and they act as insulator. Now I am going fast because I have already discussed in detail about this animal tissues in the previous session. Okay, when we talk about bones, they are strong and they are composed of bones. They are hard and they have calcium and phosphorus. They form a framework and help to give support to the body. When we talk about the ligaments, they are elastic in nature and they have very little matrix. What are the main functions of the ligament? They connect bones to bones. When we talk about the tendons, they are the fibrous tissues. They have great strength and they have limited flexibility. And what is the function of the tendon? They connect muscle to bones. When we talk about the cartilage, cartilage have widely spaced cells. Now you must know even the difference between the bones and the cartilage. You may be asked the difference between the bone and cartilage. You may be asked the difference between ligaments and tendons. So you must know the difference between different tissues. Okay, now what is the function of the cartilage? The cartilage, it smoothens the bone surface at joints and it is present in the nose, ear, trachea and larynx. बोन हार्ड होता है लेकिन कार्टिलेज हार्ड नहीं होता है. बोन्स आर हार्ड, कार्टिलेज आर नॉट हार्ड. ओके, let's come to the last part, that is the blood. Blood helps in the transport of gases. It's found in the digested food, hormones and waste materials to different parts of the body. So it helps in the transportation. Its major function is transportation. Okay, now we have learned about the plasma and the RBC. So RBCs are further classified, means corpuscles, red blood corpuscles are further classified into RBCs, WBCs and platelets. And we had also discussed about the constituent of the blood, and we had seen that most of it is covered with the yellowish liquid, that is plasma, and the other constituents consist of the RBCs, WBCs and the platelets. Okay, now let us further talk about the muscular tissues. Muscular tissues are responsible for movement in the body. They contain contractile proteins which contract and release to cause movement. So the major function of the muscular tissues is movement. Okay, now muscular tissues are further classified into voluntary muscles and involuntary muscles. When we talk about the voluntary muscles, they include activities and they control the nervous tissues. Muscular muscles are also known as the voluntary muscles because they are under our control and we can control that activity. Now when we talk about the cells of the voluntary tissues, they are long, they are cylindrical, unbranched, multicellular and striated. When we see its structure, we can see that they have striped appearance, and when we see it under the microscope, we can see the dark bands in the tissues. Okay, now when we talk about the involuntary muscles, they are responsible for the involuntary movements in the body. They are further subclassified into cardiac muscles and smooth unstraighted muscles. Cardiac muscles are the muscles of the heart and they are cylindrical, branched, unicellular and striated. You can see here in the structure of the cardiac muscles. I had even shown you in the previous session also. When we talk about the smooth or the unstraighted muscles, now here you need not remember the visceral muscles. You will learn that in your higher classes. Okay, now these unstraighted or smooth muscles are located in the inner walls of the organs like the alimentary canal, the reproductive walls or reproductive tract, the walls of the blood vessels and the lungs, bronchi of the lungs. The cells of the smooth muscles are spindle shaped. You can see here the spindle shaped tissues. They are unbranched and they are uninucleated. Uninucleate means they have one nucleus. Okay, so we come to the last part of the animal tissues, that is the nervous tissues. Now what are the functions of the nervous tissues? They receive, conduct and transmit electrical impulse or stimuli. So when we talk about the transmission of the message, the message which transmits from the brain to different parts of the organs and from the different parts of the organs to the brain. So that is done with the help of the nervous tissues. Now where are they found? They are found in the brain, in the spinal cord and the nerves. And these nervous tissues are made up of neurons or the nerve cells. They are made up of the nerve cells. Now this structure also we have discussed in the for previous session, so we need not go into too much detail. Just had a quick recap of it. Now when we talked about the muscle tissue, now here I have given it in the form of a flow chart. So this shows how it is in the structure. You can see the figure, you can see where it is found, you can see its location and its working. So here it's just a quick recap on the flow chart of the muscular tissues. We have already discussed it, so I'll not discuss it further. Now I'll discuss about the difference between of certain tissues, plant tissues and animal tissues. Now when you'll go through it, you will come to know specifically about the animal tissues and the plant tissues. The plant tissue organization is targeted towards stationary habit of plants. As we know that plants are stationary, they don't move from one place to another, whereas animals move, they show mobility. Mobility means movement. Why they move? In order to search for food and shelter, and they have to move in order to get food. The organization of the plant tissue is simple, whereas the organization in animal tissue is complex. Plant tissues are dead. We had discussed about the cork tissues. The animal tissues are living. Now plant tissues growth is confined to certain areas. We have discussed about the meristematic tissues and we have seen from the tip or from the nodules, from the nodes. So there are specific areas from where the growth takes place. Whereas in animal tissues, the growth is not limited to the areas. When we talk about the plant tissues, less maintenance energy is required, whereas in animal tissues, more maintenance energy is required. Plant tissues grow continuously throughout life, whereas animal tissues, after reaching maturity stage, animals do not show further growth. Now these already we have discussed. This is just a quick revision about it. When we talk about the simple tissues and complex tissues, from the name itself we can understand that simple tissues are made up of only one type of cell, whereas complex tissues are made up of more than one type of cells. I'll just talk about it in very short, that they are responsible for storage and mechanical support, whereas the complex tissues are responsible for transport of water, minerals, sugars and other functions. When we talk about the examples of simple tissues, they include parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma, whereas the complex tissues consist of the xylem and phloem. Now there are other points of difference also. We have parenchyma and collenchyma. You must know the difference between them. I will not read it out for you. This is just for your reference, that this type of questions can be asked. So when you read, you must prepare your notes in this way for your personal reference. You must know the difference between xylem and phloem. So this is all you must know. When you go through the lesson, you will come across all these points. So once again, go through the lesson, read it properly, and if you have any doubt, please ask me. And you are free to ask me about any doubt, because these are not your regular lessons, so we are not face to face. But that does not mean that you cannot ask me. You can call me anytime, you can message me anytime and ask about your doubts. Hope you have understood the lesson of tissues well. Have a nice day. Thank you.